Hey guys, welcome to a video on HaloPSA, of course. Um, in this case, I was on Reddit and someone made a comment. I saw a post about how to do sales processing to projects. How do you take a quote, convert it, get it into a project? What is the process that is recommended? And I figured what better way to show off. Obviously, people answered on Reddit, but their response was generally, can you show me how to do it? Can we do a video? So, of course, I'll do a video. Why not? I'm going to see if I can show off the ideal, or not necessarily the ideal, but like the Halo vision of what it should look like. So I have a trial that I spun up, and I haven't touched the trial really, except for a few other things unrelated to opportunities, sales order, projects, or workflow. And I'm going to try to show what it would look like inside the trial with vanilla configuration, not touching anything else. We're going to explore what it has. And this may go really well, and it may go really badly because Halo has a tendency of changing their trials and constantly bringing in new improvements, and I just really have no idea what it looks like right now. So let's go through it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully that is the correct screen you can see. It looks like it is. We've got a trial with DemoRT, HaloPSA.com. So let's get right into it. This is my areas where I can navigate. This is a dashboard on the modern trial. Let's go straight into opportunities right here. All right, we've got some sample opportunities here. I'm just going to make a new one in this case. We're going to say it's a lead, and that lead company name Rising Tide Consulting Group. And the contact name will be Mendy Green, and email is mendy@risingtidegroup.net. And company title is founder. Sweet, if I can type. All right, and I am looking for, I don't know, new firewall replacement for offices. So I'm going to say Mendy is looking to upgrade his firewall to account for the faster internet. Now I'm kind of like combining two things here because I'm doing a new contact, which is usually meant for leads versus an existing contact. And I'm doing the lead type versus opportunity quick quote. Actually, let me just change that to quick quote. There we go. And let's go ahead and submit. All right, so now in this case, what we're going to want is we're going to have some sort of quote that includes the firewall. We're going to want to have project labor to install the firewall, and ideally a project that contains the tasks required to install this firewall. So how does this work? We've got the quick quote in here already. We can see there's two buttons. We can add some notes. There we go. And we're just going to say it's in progress, save that, and then let's go ahead and raise the quote. All right, now I'm just going to label the quote. I'm going to add an ad hoc item because we don't have, I don't know what's inside here actually. Hold on, that's probably not a good idea. Wait, let's go add an item. Let's see what items exist. So let's search for firewall, nothing, network. Oh, there's a neck gear there. 6 port gigabit in Ethernet. What about labor? What type of labor do we have? What options do we have here? There's installation. Did I just miss that? Is that something that installation? There we go. We're gonna add one of these. Let's just say price is, I don't know, 145 an hour, and let's add a quantity of 1 to that. And let's click save. And then let's go ahead and add another, this time it'll be an ad hoc item. We'll do firewall in the end. Let's see how this works. Firewall install. Okay, and then we're gonna do cost of like, I don't know, 600 is basically price of this firewall. Maybe we'll add some licensing to it, but we don't need to. That's not the point of this, right? The point of this is if I open up the installation item, so I'm just gonna double click on it and it'll take me to the item ID 36, which is the installation labor. When I scroll down, notice my project template is none. My budget type is installation though. So I'm actually gonna edit this and I'm gonna change my project template. And there should be a standard project template already in the trial, I think. Let's go ahead and save that. And we can open it up and view what this looks like. So we've got a standard project. It's in the group project. End users, which are contacts in the Halo world, cannot use this template. And the values, we've got ticket type project, standard project, summary, no details, status is new. It goes to the project's team on an unassigned agent. P3, can see everything else here is not set. We're not going to show it to end user unless we want it visible in the portal. We can change that. We're not forwarding incoming updates to all recipients. Again, these are things that we can change on the template or on the project ticket type level. We're not having a parent ticket ID set. And we have a couple to-dos: review project documentation, confirm hardware available, complete sign-off. So these are going to be the checkboxes that appear on the top right corner of the ticket under ticket details. These will be a to-do list that needs to be complete prior to the ticket allowed to be closed. And we've got 0 children. Okay, so this is a great place to start. It's a standard project. It's literally just a bare bones template that does nothing but create a project ticket. And so we're going to close this now that we've edited the installation item and we've set the project template to standard project. Okay, we're going to close this and I'm going to go ahead and save it. All right, so now we have the new quote saved. It opened up in a new tab. We go to the opportunity. Notice we've got a raised quote raised. This is the new status. Okay, we've got the quote here. And now I'm not sending it from the ticket. I'm just going to come inside the quote. And now I'm working out of the quote and I'm just going to send it here. And it's going to go out to Mendy@risingtidegroup.net. It's going to say, here's your quote for review. You can see your total price. And right now, the reason why it's taking a while is because it's actually generating a PDF. So that PDF that we see attached, we can open it up and we can see what that would look like, which is right here. It's loading. There we go. And so this is the default PDF template that exists inside the demo, inside the trial. Like I said, we're using the bare bones trial setup. There's not much here in terms of custom configuration. Okay. And we can see this is what the quote would look like. We got the please find attached. You can accept or reject this quotation here. I'm not actually going to send this email, or maybe I will, but before I do that, I'm just going to open up the portal in a new tab. And it's going to come through and it's going to show me that same quote inside the portal with the option to accept or reject, right? So this is what the end user sees when you send the quote to them via the portal. So I'm going to go ahead and now send the email just so it gets marked as sent. So we can see the status will change from draft to sent. We can see the ticket ID we're linked to is the opportunity ID 2333. If I go here, you can see that 2333. Here you can see the email that I sent is included into the opportunity. So everything I'm doing under the quote is being linked to the original opportunity, so we can always go back and see what happened. And here you can see the quotation is linked here, and we got the attachments indicating that the quotation has been generated and sent. We've got 2 copies because it generated 2 PDFs through the process of sending it. All right, let's go back to the portal, and now I am the client, and I'm going to accept this quote. My name is Mendy Green. My email address is mendy@risingtidegroup.net. Comment, this is great. Please do this ASAP. Now, if I had optional items on the quote at this point, I would be prompted to select what those items would be. I would get asked for if I want to include or exclude those optional items. If there's one I default, as the quote creator, I can make an optional item and set it to accepted by default versus unknown or declined. And then the end user will have the option of changing those at the time of clicking the accept button prior to filling this out. And then I'm going to fill in a PO number, and I'm going to just go ahead and sign my name with this fancy signature and a smiley face. All right. One other item that's coming, by the way, I don't think it's out yet. There's a release candidate pending, but one of the features that's coming to the quotes to optional items is the ability to decrease the quantity of the items. So if they're not sure, they want 5, they want 10, they want 15, set it to 15. I'll let them choose the number that they want, as long as it's clear that they're able to do that. Otherwise, it can throw them off. Let's go ahead and hit submit. And what we should see here is when it completes, the comment that gets added into the ticket, it gets added into the quote. The signature gets attached as a separate picture. Notice we got thank you for your response. We can customize this. We got the customer signature here. This quote was approved, is now visible, right? This quote was approved is up here. And if I go up here and refresh my screen, I should have a big thumbs up. There we go. Marking the quote as accepted. And I have a quotation, all the information here at status accepted. If I scroll down, I see the PO number that was populated by the customer. And I can see approval notes and a customer signature. But if I go back to the ticket, look at that. I can see the quote accepted note. This is great. Please do this ASAP. I can see the quotes here. If I go to attachments, I've got two more versions here. I got one PDF and I got a signature separately. So this is going to be the final version of the PDF. This is going to be the signature that was sent. And we're basically ready at this point to close this ticket. So let's go through and actually, like, what do I do next, right? That's usually the question. How do I get from here to the actual project? Well, that's easy. Now, at this point, we have to do two things. Number one, installation will not be invoiced on the front side, right? So this is going to be $145 an hour. We're not sure what the quantity is. Firewall is going to be, well, let's say we do invoice $145 up front. It doesn't really matter. We can do a combination of fixed fee, flat fee, a flat fee for projects, or even upfront deposit and then labor afterwards. But the specifics of that doesn't make a difference. But let's get to the point. After we have an accepted quote, our next step is to create a sales order. So we're going to go ahead and raise that sales order right here. Now we have a sales order created. I'm going to open that up. And the rest of my work I'm doing from here. Okay. So first, I'm going to create the project. Boom. Now I have my project created. Then I'm going to add my firewall as an item to that project. There we go. And then I'm going to create an invoice. I'm going to invoice the entire order. I got my invoice created. I see my invoice is linked. I see my project is linked. If there were POs required, I'd have additional actions. If my items were set to be contract actions or contract items, I would have an item to create a contract here as well. If there was a recurring invoice listed, I'd have the ability to create a recurring invoice. And then if there was a PO or some sort of thing I'd had to order from a supplier, I'd have the ability to create a PO as well, which would be linked here. Everything would be linked here. So let's go take a look at where we stand right now. Again, this process is pretty simple. We got a brand new ticket. We went ahead and we created a quote for the ticket using the raise quote button. Now we're here, right? We got the quote created. We sent it off. We got the quote accepted, and then we created a sales order. And now we're over here in the sales order. The sales order allows us to create the invoice. It allows us to create the project, and it links it all together. So if we look back at the opportunity, notice I have a projects tab. If I go into the projects tab, I see the standard project that's been created. Okay, you can leave the information blank on the template, and it'll populate it based off of the reference of the sales order. So it's usually based off of the title of the quote, I think. So let's go through and let's look at the project specifically. So we see the projects here. We see the projects here. If we go into the project, it opens up a new tab, and this would be unassigned. If we look at the details, we can see it's under the general user because I don't have a client since I did it as a new client who's not a real client yet. So it didn't get assigned to a client, but you can see my to-do list is here. You can see the sales order is linked. You can see the parent ID is the opportunity. All right, so we're getting a full 360-degree view of all the linked items here. And then finally, somewhere here, there's the ability to look at the items itself on the project. I don't actually know where it went. It might not be turned on inside here, or maybe because it's not on the general user. You know what? Let's start over. Let's do this whole thing all over again and see. Let's do something a little bit different. We're gonna go back to opportunities. I'm gonna go close all these things, and we're gonna do a new client. So let's say we're gonna come here, and we're gonna say it's a new client, new contact. So I'm gonna do a lead. Company name is Rising Tide Consulting Group. Again. And then Mendy Green, Mendy at risingtidegroup.net, and founder. And wow, I always mess that word up. Whoa, okay. There we go. New managed services. I cannot type tonight. Okay, Mendy is looking for someone to take over all IT management. All right, we're looking, let's say potential value. We're going to take the monthly cost we're looking for. Let's say it's $500 a month. We're going to multiply that by 12. I don't actually know what that number is, but I know 10 is 5,000. Another 500 is, so we're going to say 6,000 probably, right? Is that correct? Am I making this up now? Am I bad? Like, I'm really bad at math. I just don't know if I'm completely embarrassing myself in front of everyone. Wow, 6,000. That's the correct number. Okay, potential value 6,000 for the year, and target date is, let's say I want to sign by the 31st. My ticket tags, just gonna do managed services. Look at that, it's already a tag here. New managed services. I'm going to say this is a hot lead because I'm putting it in for myself. Don't tell anybody. All right, we're going to click submit and let's keep going through. So now we are in the lead workflow and the lead ticket type. It's a little bit different. We're still not a customer, right? It's not a real client. We're just putting in, we have opportunity fields here. These are not real client select fields. Let's go ahead and claim this opportunity. So now as the salesperson, I'm going to take a lead that has come through and I'm going to claim it as mine. So now it's my lead that I can work on. It assigns me as the agent. It indicates that I've claimed it and date and time of when that claim occurred. And let's go through the workflow process. Now, if you notice, there's a bunch of different buttons here. Looks like they're coloring those buttons based off of what that action could be. I like to use the buttons to highlight the next stage in the workflow. So like right now, I don't know, what do I do to progress this ticket? Do I qualify? Do I put a note? Do I add an activity? How do I get this ticket to the next stage of the workflow? This kind of tells me, because I know, okay, qualify, qualified, I need to get to qualified, so I need to qualify the button. But still, like, there are certain situations when you're built, especially when you talk about help desk workflows, where you can't necessarily stick and match a stage to a action each time. But let's do qualify and let's go through. We're going to say conversion probability is like 60%. 60%. There we go. What kind of opportunities is new managed service? How many employees? 6 to 10. How do they hear about us? Word of mouth, from my own mouth. I told myself, get it? Okay. They are an IT company. Well, let's say I'm in the education company. We're the IT company. We got a LinkedIn based off of the name Rising Tech Consulting Group. It's probably wrong, but you can update the URL. We got a website, probably wrong as well, but you can update that as you go. You got a target date set, and we're going to go ahead and hit save. And we've now qualified this opportunity and provided the conversion probability rate, the potential value, and so on and so forth. The reason why this becomes important is because we're looking at the main opportunities list. And so let's just look at my list for the moment. See how like this is all built out for sales, leads, and so on and so forth. But if we're looking here, let's see if I can find, here we go, Rising Tide Consulting Group, right? We've got a qualified status, probability, the value, and then we've also got opportunity values right here. See this? It does a calculation based off probability as to which value is most important. So you can literally just organize by value and hit that one first, because the ones that need to be processed are the ones that are most likely, like the ones you want to chase are the hot ones. You want to get it while it's hot, right? I'm going to stop talking and let's continue this whole workflow. We're in the lead process. We've qualified it. Now we're ready. Let's say we've talked to them back and forth. We've spoken to the client. We're ready to convert this to an opportunity. All right. We're saying, you know what? This is it. We're ready to turn this into an actual opportunity. Let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to hit save. And now we're in a situation where we have a different workflow set up. Okay. Now we're in the opportunity type. We're in the opportunity project scoping phase. And now we got to get contact back and forth. So let's go ahead and do contact made, which is interesting because this is an action, not an outcome. They kind of messed that up, but let's say we did it in person. They're good to go. Some site notes go here, you know, IT state, ideal customer score, like whether or not we want them to be a customer if they align. So this may be something like some annoying users in the graphics department, so on and so forth, right? Just fill in some notes about the customer. Are there any hurdles? This would be things that we'd want to look for during the transition or during the takeover. We're going to go ahead and submit. And now we go through this process of scoping the project, adding a note, adding activity. So let's go ahead and scope the project. Expected project start date, that's going to be September 1, statement of work templates, new managed service. Boom, look at that. Now, again, like I have never seen this before. This is brand new to the trial. I've gone through this process a few times on a few different occasions of doing the trial, and this is very different from what I've seen before. If we go here, And actually the notes that we saved look like they did not work. Where did they go? Here it is, statement of work. So it got saved to a ticket field under statement of work, and there's no information here that that was done. Not a great experience. What I like to do is I like to add default notes under the actions. If they're not going to be populating the note field, I like to populate the note field for them so that people come in here and actually like, oh, okay, cool. They understand what happened. So you can literally populate this statement of work with a dollar variable as they fill it in. So just a tip about that. Let's go ahead and move this forward. At this point, we need to get to the negotiation stage. The way to do that is, I think we have to prepare a quote. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to apply default proposal details, new managed service. Got the executive summary. We've got the customer testimonial. Got terms and conditions. Let's go ahead and save that. I have no idea what this is doing. I've never seen this before. We got the quote prepared. What does that mean? If this does what I think it does, that is really cool. Let's go ahead and raise the quote. And let's add some items here. Let's see. We've got managed services charge, recurring item. Let's just add 12 of these at 145. I don't know, what else do we have? Let's say that's it. Let's go ahead and add that labor. We don't have implementation. There we go. Implement new managed service 150. Let's go add three of those, let's say. So that's going to be our onboarding fee. We're going to save that. We're going to save this, and we're going to save the quote. Now I'm not touching anything else here, but notice that my company name doesn't exist, right? So that was a blank dropdown. I went by too fast. Let's edit that. And so we've got no real, like, Rising Tide doesn't exist, right? It's just a demo Rising Tide, which is what I created the demo under. But the Rising Tide Consulting Group, if I search Mendy Green, right, there's Mendy Online, demo Rising Tide, but my thing doesn't exist, right? So what is that company name coming from? My email address, if I search Mendy at risingtidegroup.net, right, it's literally my login. There's not much else there. So before I do that, usually at the time of when they're ready for a quote, I come back here and I hit this create new client from this opportunity button. Right, I just populate the name, the type. We said education, account status is allowed. I populate the website, a site name, a contact name, email address, a domain name. So I'm going to come up here. Domain name's already populated. I'm just going to add that to my website. And I usually fill in as much as I can about the client that we have, mostly because. And then, so we do like street address line 2, we'll do is suite 101. Line 3 is city, and state. I like to put them both here. It depends on your integration, apparently. Some don't like it there, and they would rather use 4 for the state. But international standards of the address, this is the correct format, where you have the country on the line underneath. Phone number, you'd fill in country code. I also like to set this here too. This is not required. This does something different than the accounting side. This is it's just internal to Halo. There's some other things that you can do with it. But I like to set, again, as much information as I can. And then when it gets to the point of there's a lot of tedious manual work, I figure out all the things I want to have happen. I mean, I throw it into an automation, which if you saw my video about MSP Geek, and how we do the create new sponsor, which is basically the same exact thing. I would basically have a button that would fire off to a workflow in Roost that creates the client for me and converts it to a thing. So I'd have a button up here. I click a button, it sends all the information to Roost, populates all the fields, and updates the opportunity. Notice that now I'm in a real client here, right? And so I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to refresh this page real quick. And then we're just going to edit. And I'm going to change this now. Oh, I don't need to. Look at that. It's been marked automatically on my correct contact and client at this point. So that is basically all I wanted to do there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDF and see what it looks like. Again, I have no idea what these items have done. Terms and conditions, executive summary, statement of work. It's cool that it's part of the opportunity. I'm wondering if it's going to be included in the quote here. So let's go through and take a look. Got the same quote summary. We've got terms and conditions, and that's it. So what happened here? What was the point of all that? Let's go through and continue the process. Maybe it's included in the email instead. Who knows? So let's go ahead and send. Nope, it's not here. Let's go through and continue this. We're going to hit send there. And we've got our portal access. Here we have the quote, and I'm going to go ahead and accept it. All right, so the reason why we're doing this again is because I had forgotten to convert my org to a client, like the fake org to a client, prior to creating the project. And so the project wasn't assigned to anyone. It was under general user. So I wanted to show the process again, this time doing that conversion to a client. So that way we can actually see what it looks like and for real when we have it assigned. So this is going through, it's been approved. We got the signature, we got the comment, so on and so forth. I already showed you all that stuff here. And over here, we should be able to see quotes accepted, real acceptance. We got our attachments, including signature. We have our quotation, and it's been marked as approved. Notice I now have the opportunity to close the opportunity. Opportunity is marked as 1 after I sent it, and then I accepted it. It's marked as opportunity 1, and now I have the ability to close it. But at this point, I'm not closing it yet. I still have to process this quote that's been signed. So I'm going to go ahead and create a sales order. Sales order 9 should be created. There we go, going in order. You're going to go to sales order 9, and we are going to continue this. Notice I've got create contract, create project, add to project. Okay, so I'm going to create a contract first for the managed services. We're going to say rising tide MSP. I like to specify, the specifics of the MSP under the reference here. And so we're going to do labor type is fixed, start date is today. This is going to be a monthly, yearly period with a no end date. And we're going to allow, what did I say, 4 hours per month to be billed, and then to be used or consumed by the contract. And we're going to say this is our lowest package with a managed agreement, and the status is live. We're going to say the date sent is today, date received is today, and we're not going to override any of this other stuff. We're just going to go ahead and hit save. And we now have a contract that exists. We can see that here, rising tide contract. It's the reference of the contract. And then we can go ahead and add a recurring invoice. I'm going to do that too. I'm going to create a new recurring invoice. I'm going to choose the contract it's for. The recurring invoice is pretty straightforward. It's going to have this here. I can come up here and modify this to show quantity to be based off of a user or asset count, and I can choose the number of users that exists under that site. And we can set the minimum, because we agreed to 12, we can set the minimum to be 12. So that way, even if there's 0, they have at least 12 there. I'm going to go ahead and hit save at this point. Notice it is 0. It looks like it did not pull in the numbering information. Let's add some stuff in here. We're going to choose value for the price, which we said was like 145. No tax. Services don't have tax. Income account, I'm not selecting one of those. We don't have an item ID, no supplier at this point. Let's go ahead and save. What do we got? Got 145. Okay, let's go ahead and hit save here. Now I am rushing through a bunch of things here. Notice the recurring invoice gets tied. There are some of the things that you'll have to continue to add in. So like you have to set a schedule for the recurring invoice, which can usually happen at the point of when they're ready to go live. So you can create the recurring invoice now, add all the items to it, but don't worry about setting a schedule until you're ready to go live. Or if you know the go live date already, you can go ahead and set that schedule at the point. Notice that there's 12 people here, but we don't have any contacts, maybe just one contact there, one user. So the minimum is going to be 12. If I remove that minimum, it's going to be set to the number of users that I have. If I go over 12, it's going to bump it up to the number of users that I have. So this is a way to enforce the minimums agreed upon by the contract without it actually, without manually setting it. Let's go ahead and create a project. In this case, we're going to create a project here. And so now we should have a new project created, 2336. And we're going to add this to the project, implement new managed service. We're going to save that, and we're going to keep going. So let's now create an invoice. We're going to create an invoice for this. We're going to invoice the entire order. There may not be any lines to invoice because managed services can be under the recurring invoice. but let's see what this looks like. We may be billing for the labor up front. So now we've got invoice 7. Let's go ahead and open it up. Okay, so we do have the managed services charge. We've also got the implement managed services. And so what we can do is we can turn this into the first month of billing. So that way we start the recurring invoice 1 month after we actually sign them on. And the first month would be included in the original invoice for the project. So that's the reason for this logic here. And then we would go ahead and take a look at this project and see what it looks like. So under the T336, notice we've got our project tasks that were included as part of the template. We've got our installation, install RMM and network management software, assess existing hardware and software, and we also got our user onboarding and training. Okay, so we've got our 3 tasks that exist. We've got our budgets created here, and the tasks are assigned to budgets. Here we got the progress that would just open the ticket. There's not much else here. And then we've got details here. And so the details would be here. We can see the same to-do list that we have from the template. We've got our sales order here, got our parent ID. This time, if we go find the client, we're actually assigned to the real client. It's not a general user. We've also have the ability to look at our statement of work. Oh, so this would be one of the reasons to include it on the opportunity level is because, and this is actually funny because one of the questions on the Reddit was like, how do I know what the work to do actually is? The statement of work from the opportunity will pass down to the statement of work from the project. How is this all set up? Okay. At this point, let's go ahead and let's say that they paid the invoice. So the invoice is created. Here we have to actually mark this paid. Let's actually, I do not want to do that. Let's close that up and reopen the invoice from here. And let's say the invoice owed, we owe $21.90. So let's go and pretend that we received payment. If I can, I don't think, it looks like I took that button away. Interesting. There used to be a receive payment button. Now we'll just raise a credit note. I don't know what that did. This is a credit note. And I have no idea how it behaves. All right, we're getting distracted. Let's just go ahead and mark this invoice as paid for right now. Credit notes are fairly new. I have never, like, they were never really functional. They've been there for a while, but they haven't really done anything. At this point, we're gonna mark the status if I can find it, and if it's even markable. Well, it doesn't look like we can do that either. Oh, I can add payments here. Here we go. Payment date, we're going to say it's been paid, and we're going to save that. Interesting. Things just changed a little bit. No big deal. All right, now we have this invoice marked as paid. So let's say that they pay the invoice, and then we're going to go to the opportunity. At this point, we're going to close it out as closed 1. Invoice paid, project created. Great job, team. And we're going to save that. And we are not going to add this action to the open child ticket because we don't want to close the project at the same time as closing the opportunity. All right. So how does this work? Notice that under the opportunity, we get the quotation, we get the sales order, we got the invoice number, we have the project. Everything's now linked together. And we can, if we were to run a report on project 2336, we would be able to see the invoice that occurred, be able to see the final version of the quote, which is the sales order. We'd be able to see the invoice, whether or not it was paid, what they actually paid. And then we can tie individual time. So let's open up one of these tasks and actually put some time in real quick. Because we can literally come in here and let's say email user. We're going to log a response to this project note. We're going to take off the email. I'm going to say in progress. We're going to throw like 12 hours of time in at an on-site support. And let's just throw, I don't know what that is, but you can do some canned text in here. So if you have onboarding tasks that are pretty much the same stuff all the time, you can just literally pre-fill that with canned text. Let's go ahead and save that. The point of this is that when you do have build hours that occur and you go look at the view edit action and go to time tracking, you're able to see whether or not it was invoiced, and what the invoice number is. So any future invoices you create from labor of a project, you can tie in as well under the report. And that is basically the whole picture on how it should work. Great. How do you set this up? I showed some of this under the templates, under the line items. So I showed some of that, but there's some more information here. So like, for example, the statement of work tab, the executive summary, terms and conditions, like where are these tabs coming from? What are these fields? How do they work? How do we get them? So let's go through and take a deep dive into the configuration now. First thing we're going to do is we look at custom fields. And if you look at a custom field for a ticket, that's statement of work, maybe. There we go. You can see it's a rich text field. It's under a tab called SOW. And it is copy value to child tickets and copy values to child tickets when parent value is updated. So let's say I'm in the opportunity. Let's open that opportunity back up again, which is 2335. And I realized, you know what? We were talking to the customer, and this is actually, the statement of work has changed. So it looks like the field is not actually editable here. So I don't know what the point of that is, but let's say the statement of work were to change. Let's say the executive summary changes. I don't think the executive summary is here. This is not going well. Hold on one second. Let's keep digging. Let's go back to statement of work. We're not going to mess with that. I don't think that's the setting I'm looking for. I think the setting I'm looking for is going to be under the ticket type. So let's go look at the ticket type. So if we go to configuration and look at ticket types and go here to, well, I think it's under sales opportunity types, actually. Let's start with that. So we're going to go down here and go to opportunity types. And then we're going to go to opportunity. And let's go look at field list. We have statement of work right here. We're going to edit that and take a look at it. Yeah, so the access to modify the statement of work is restricted by role. So that actually makes sense. It's restricted to product manager and sales executive. I don't have either of those roles, so I can't make changes to the field. But for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to modify that and allow all agents with permission to update a ticket can update that field. We can see it's not visible to end user on new ticket. It's not visible to agent on new ticket, but it is visible on the ticket information tab, and it's visible here on show on separate tab, and it's hidden if empty. So we're going to go ahead and save, and we're going to save that. Now, the other thing to note is if we do go back to ticket types and look at the project ticket type, so we go here and look for project, and we go to field list, we see the same statement of work field. So the field exists on both project and on opportunity ticket types. And now if we go back to 2335 and we just refresh the screen, we should be able to edit the statement of work. And I can show you what that other setting, the whole point was to show you the setting. So now I'm the sales rep, I'm talking to the customer like, oh, you know what? We need another phase. So we need phase 6, phase 7, draw lines in perpendicular form that are both green and red with invisible ink. All right, if you get this joke, let me know in the comments. If you don't get the joke, I feel sorry for you, and you need to go watch another YouTube video, but I'm not going to tell you which one. If I go back here, look at my statement of work, you'll see that's been updated, right? So in that ticket, that's been updated. Now the project engineer is like, shoot, project's already been created, statement of work changed. How does that work? Well, let's go look at the ticket 2336. Let's just refresh this page and go to the statement of work tab. And because that checkbox to copy updates to all child tickets has been marked, therefore, the field is updated as well. And now what we updated in the opportunity is updated in the project too. So you don't have to worry about things disconnecting once you do a handoff. The handoff can be a partial handoff, or we're like, okay, here's the project that's going to get some work done to it. And then you can continue working on the opportunity. And as changes happen, the project still gets updated. So that's a really cool thing about how that works. I was hoping the statement of work and the terms and conditions and everything else would be included inside of the PDF template. Let's go take a look at those PDF templates, because it didn't look like it was, but there was something configured there. There was a tab under the opportunity for statement of work. There was for terms and conditions and an executive summary, and there was a tab under under the opportunity for terms and conditions and executive summary. That's what I'm trying to say. Wow, I got distracted by an email popping up on my screen, and then I completely lost my train of thought. In this case, we're looking for probably a formal proposal, but I don't actually know. Let's go take a look at that quote and see what the template was. Default template, not really helpful right now. So let's go take a look at what our default template would be. Let's go here and go to quotations and see if we have a default template set here. Not what I'm looking for yet. Here he goes. Proposal no subscriptions / recurring is a default PDF template for quotes. Is there another one? That's basically it. Okay, so we're talking about that. Now, if we look at our configuration, which was here, PDF templates. So this is the proposal that was being used. Let's go look at the pages. We got quote details, terms and conditions. Let's go take a look. It could be the reason why it wasn't there is because I'm literally using the wrong PDF template. That occurred to me as I was looking at the default template, because it's likely that total, it's likely that because we're doing a managed services, the template you want to use is actually one with managed services. So let's look at formal proposal and see what this looks like. Oh, wow, this looks promising. So we got executive summary. Let's go take a look at what's inside there. Yeah, look at that. We've got executive summary and customer testimonial. So we're using, this is interesting. I did not know this was doable. We're using the opportunity to ask for information that's even pre-populated based off of a template. So like that, you don't have to type it in from scratch every time. You can choose pre-canned text. You can pre-fill based off the value of the thing that we selected. Like there was a template, we selected that template, and then it populated the text there, right? And then it's taking that text from that rich text field and it's throwing it into the PDF template to be used. That is amazing, because then what we can really do is we can build out our template. Our formal proposal can be extremely generic, and we can just reuse that over and over again. We can turn it into our default thing. And let's look at our statement of work. Likely, we're going to have the same kind of field here. There we go, statement of work. Okay, what does this template actually look like? I'm very curious. Our details is going to be our standard details, probably where we have our table created, right? So this is doing our table, our quote line monthly, and so on and so forth. It's breaking out all the different types of pricing and line items. Let's go ahead and scroll back up and close this out. And then our terms and conditions will likely be that terms and conditions field right here, proposal terms and conditions. So this is really cool. I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to modify the quote that we have. I think I lost it. I think it was in this tab. Let's see. Yep. I'm going to modify this quote to be the new template. I'm not modifying the items because that's not, oh, I can't modify the template either. Okay, let's work backwards. Let's undo all the stuff I just did. At this point, I think I've sufficiently proven or shown how to make that work. So I'm going to delete this. We don't want this to happen. Now I'm going to delete this, which is a child ticket. And let's keep working our way back. We're going to close this. We don't need to touch that. We're going to delete this invoice where some payments made here. Is this the invoice or is this the credit note that I created? I don't even know. There's a payment here, so I'm just going to remove that payment. And I'm going to delete the invoice because you can't, I think you probably can't delete it while it's been marked paid. All right, let's close that out. We're going to delete the sales order. First, let's go back to the project. And we're like slowly unraveling that whole chain that we follow. So I'm going to delete the child tickets here. These are the tasks. And I'm going to delete this project. All right, guys, we're almost done. I just want to see what that PDF template looks like. And if you're not interested in seeing that, feel free to stop watching at this point because there's not much else to show. And I think I've covered the whole process of what it should look like. So we still have a contract. Let me go delete that contract. And notice I'm using the sales order to tell me all the things that I have to do or redo or undo, right? Because that's literally how I did it in the first place. We're going to go delete this contract. And then I'm going to delete the sales order. There we go. And now we've got the opportunity still. Notice that the only thing I have left is the quote, which is right here. And so I'm going to mark this quote as draft. Save. All right, so now it should let me edit. There we go. I got all that items available to edit, and I can change the template. So let's do formal proposal, save that, and then let's create, generate PDF. And then we're going to see what it looks like with the proposal taken from all those fields off of the opportunity. Come on, here we go. Look at that. Executive summary, final thoughts, customer testimonial. So we can have like customer testimonials listed in Halo that we can just throw in from pre-canned text. Statement of work. Notice our phase 7 is here. And then we finally have our breakdown of one-time costs versus annual recurring costs, which would really be monthly. It's just that the item itself is marked as a yearly item. And so that's why it's under annual. Our template's in not USA format. We can see it's already been signed because the signature is still valid because I'm not able to remove that. But we do have our terms of services and everything else. So that is really cool. And I think I want to go and redo like my entire Halo right now, my entire opportunity and quoting process, because the latest trial has some really cool ideas and things that I didn't know that we were able to do. Anyways, if this is helpful, let me know in the comments. Again, if you recognize the joke about the project lines perpendicular and invisible ink, let me know in the comments too. And yeah, thanks for watching.